Hey peeps,
Hello.
Scott and Faye again with the Loose Vago. Um, it's going to be slightly different than the last few. A little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. First off, we're going to do a quick rundown of how we got here. To catch up some of the people that are new to the channel. A couple of the people that have been talking to us in real life lately. Like, we have a new subscriber that caught us at a red light today. And we had like a kind of, fast paced back and forth between him and us. He was awesome. He was as cool as could be. But not a whole lot of info was able to get, transferred over because we were at a red light, and it wasn't even that long of one. So about 2 years ago, right before the whole pandemic. Yeah, and I know what I said there. Pandemic. See, a pandemic is when it happens naturally and there's no, engineers or scientists working on creating it. At that point, it's kind of a pandemic. So, again, sorry if I offended anybody. Not trying to. But I will speak my mind. Doesn't matter what side of, politics you fall on. Like, whether it's right or the left, I don't care. I will call it out. If it's something that affects me or bothers me, or it's brought to my attention enough, I'm gonna call it out. So please don't get offended at that. But if you do, I don't let stuff in my own life worry me too bad. So I hope it don't worry you too bad neither. You have to also, please forgive the random like dinosaur noises and like dragon noises going on. They are snow plowing the parking lot next to us. So there's all kinds of stuff going on. So right at the beginning of the, the whole coof, about a little over a week before Christmas, me and Faye ended up homeless. We ended up out on the street sleeping in our truck. Now, it was, culture shock for us. We weren't expecting it. We weren't planning on it. We had a much different plan. We thought that there was going to be money left at the sale of the house. Coming to find out the day of closure, there was nothing left. There was a second mortgage that my mother had taken out before she had passed. We weren't aware of. So when it came to selling the house, that got brought up only at, closing. And that was that. There was nothing left. And my dad was left with just a couple options there. He could either choose to not sell the house, which, wasn't an option, or just go ahead and sign the papers and get out from underneath of it, which is really what needed to be done. So, not holding any grudges there, not at all. It needed to be done. That house was just old. Like, everything was like starting to go. Nobody wanted to put the money into it to fix it up. Like, we were kind of done. And the writing was on the wall. Like, a whole bunch of new people had moved into the neighborhood. We were the only hillbillies left, We had bought, like, the original house in the neighborhood. It was like the model house. So, we were there for a few years before people really started moving in. And it was probably a good 15 years before the neighborhood was finished. So, like, a lot of the people that moved in later on, it became more and more of a fancier neighborhood. And we were still old farm boys. Me and my brother, kind of like the Duke boys. We were always blowing stuff up. We were always, like, on our dirt bikes and, four-wheelers, go-karts. We were into muscle cars. We were Mopar fans, which is Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge. We were motorheads, We were motorheads. We were just goofballs. We like to have a lot of fun with stuff. That being said, most of the rest of the people that moved into the neighborhood didn't like that kind of noise. So. But they chose to move in next to us, so, I mean, come on now, whose fault is that? So, anyway, the last year that we were there, the last couple years we were there, we had a whole group of people that just kept calling the county on us. We were getting fines left and right. Like, I had bought myself an old project truck, and I was trying to fix it up. I kept trying to stick money into it. Meanwhile, the county kept hitting me with fines for it not being tagged, not being kept inside of a garage, not just everything that they could have a problem with, they found a problem with. I paid roughly $3,000 worth of fines in 1 year on that truck. We had another roughly $6,000 in fines on the yard. Dandelions that grew. We had a bamboo patch that we kept getting hit with. Like, literally every week we'd get another friggin' fine for $400 to $600. And after a while, that just builds up. And we just couldn't afford to live there anymore. With all of that, and, like, our whole heating system had to get redone. And the air conditioner was pretty much already gone. It was just too much. So, we needed to get out from underneath of that house. So, we ended up, when the house sold, we ended up with nothing. And, no time to prep for it. Because we weren't aware that there wasn't going to be anything left. So we ended up in our truck,
For at least 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, first few months was pretty rough. Because, it was right smack dab in the winter. We didn't know what we were doing. We, didn't know nothing about stealth camping. So, we weren't any good at that.
Yeah, we kind of found out real fast. We are not stealth campers.
Yeah.
We did not do good at that.
Yeah,
we did not take the 101 stealth camping class.
Yeah. Our windows aren't tinted. Right from the get-go, our truck stood out, and we stood out. We just weren't good at it at all. We didn't know any of the protocols. We didn't know that there was a whole community of boondockers. We didn't know that there was other people to get resources and info off of. We were just a hot mess out there, not knowing nothing. So we just kept getting either woken up and kicked out of places, or we'd fall asleep, accidentally leaving the truck running. You'd wake up, the truck had run out of gas. Because of that, the keys left on, so the battery'd be dead. And we'd have people knocking on our door telling us we gotta go, and we can't go nowhere. It was just a hot mess, one thing after another. And I finally got to the point where it was driving me nuts. So we were sitting down one night at this truck stop, and I started drawing up plans for a little house on the back of the truck. I must have drawn up 20 different plans, and Bay kept going, nope, not seeing it, nope. I don't know what you're talking about, that looks crazy. And then finally, just to be a smartass, I drew one up with the picket fence on the side, and pretty much the way it looks now. The little cabin with the little picket fence around it and little windows. It wasn't an exact match, but pretty close. So they just perked right on up and was like, all right, if we build that, I'm in. And that took me by surprise. I was like, really? Yeah? All right. Yeah, let's do it. She had some stipulations, like all females do. I drew up about 12 different back doors because she wanted a barn door. She insisted on it. So I drew a bunch up, and she picked out her favorite. And that's kind of the way it went, So once I finally got the approval, I went ahead and got out my notebook and started sketching out every single board we would need. I counted out every single cut, every single screw we would need. I just went down through it, figuring out exactly how much insulation it would end up taking in the end, every little detail, so I could have a parts list. And then for the next few weeks, we set out scavenging, trying to find as much supplies as we could. We went around and hit the dumpsters. I started grabbing parts, man. We went around to a couple job sites, asked if we could help clean up a little bit, straighten up around their dumpsters, and in return, take some of that scrap. And we got told to go scratch a few times. We got looked at kind of crazy and, told that we were trespassing. It's like, I'm not trespassing. I literally came directly to you and asked you a question. Like, if the answer is no, the answer is no, and that's fine. But, like, so a few times it turned into some little, back and forth debates, slightly heated. But we also ran into some people that were just as cool as could be and were all about it. So after a while, we got all, we had a big pile in the back of the truck of everything we needed. So we setting up and and just started building. First day of the build, we made it about an hour into the build, and then it started snowing. Then the snow stopped, and then it turned into rain. Then the rain turned into sleet. Then the sleet and rain all started to freeze. We got the frame built and got it up on the truck. But that was it. It was just a frame that first day. And we had to, ratchet strap the whole thing down to the truck. And I mean, trying to drive around with the frame of the house on here, not actually secured, just kind of like strapped down like a Christmas tree on the top of a station wagon. It was kind of sketchy. A couple days later, we put the sidewalls on, and that got even sketchier because, like, it really wasn't attached yet. And I mean, it was just catching the wind like a big old windsock. And we tried to not go too far or too fast while it was still like that. And about a week in, we threw some temporary boards in to secure it into the truck better.
And then, at some point we had to wait a little while because the wood got so cold where we had to wait for a couple of weeks because
there was a layer of ice on every piece of wood here. And when we were trying to put the sides on, we literally had to go around the whole frame with a hammer and just sit there and bash on it and break all the ice off of it just to get the outer sheeting on. Now, that was a mess because, like, if you ever tried to screw into, like, frozen wood, it doesn't work too well. Like, I went through so many, like, drill bits. I went through so many screw bit, like the Phillips head bits. I went through so many screws because we'd get them, like, halfway in and the whole head would rip off. It was,
He really did. He tried his hardest, and we just had to say, okay, we have to wait a while, give it a bit before we could actually work on it again.
Yeah, we had to, like, throw in the towel for a good month. And that was, early on when like everything was just going sideways on us. It didn't seem like we were actually going to be able to finish it. And for a while there, it really did seem like this thing was going to come off of here in a catastrophic failure. It really did. Like, driving this thing was just as scary as could be. Until, we actually got to build it up a little better,
Secure it a little bit more to the truck.
Yeah.
And
But it all worked out,
got to the point we weren't driving down the road scared to death whether it was going to fall off or not.
We were driving down the road. My face just glued into my side mirror. Her face glued into her side mirror. We're watching to see if it like shifts off the side of the truck in either direction. Like, it was like driving a ticking time bomb at first. But
we're like, oh crap, who's watching the road? We're both trying to look
Yeah.
out the side mirrors, making sure the house doesn't fall off.
it was a hot mess, people. It really was. But, it was fun. It's definitely fun looking back at it. But it wasn't so much fun during that time. I mean, we crack jokes about it and we laugh about it a lot, but I mean, to put it mildly, it was rough. Like, you can try to be as stoic as you want to try to be, but there's no getting around it. Like, the first year, it was pretty hard. But,
Especially when it got down to like 12 degrees or lower.
yeah.
That was rough.
One night it got down to 6, and that's before the wind chill. And, yeah, I mean, it sucked.
Mm.
There's no nice way to put that. So, hey, that's about the nicest way to put it. So, I mean, it's just a matter to get through it, And we were able to because I had her and she had me, and we were able to, like, pull each other up. And, like, have you guys, I mean, you've had to have seen that movie, The Christmas Carol, where the kid sticks his tongue to the pole. Like, I always loved that movie growing up. Never really thought it was real. I thought it was more movie crap. Because half the stuff in movies is crap. But we were sleeping down at one of the truck stops one night, and I was laying my face up against the window. And I had been drooling, apparently. And I was froze to the window. My lip was all stuck to it. I woke up. That whole side of my face was just like throbbing. And I went to pull away, and my lip stayed on the window. So, I was trying to get her attention. She woke up, started laughing so hard that she got out of the truck, ran into the truck stop because she had to pee, leaving me stuck to the window. Yeah, I was kind of upset about that one. And then she came out, laughing even more. That went on for a good 5 minutes before she bothered helping me.
I'm sorry, baby. At that time, it was so hilarious because all I could think of was the Christmas Carol and the kid's tongue stuck to the pole.
Yeah, meanwhile, I was so
apologize, I'm
mad.
sorry.
I was so mad. Anyway, when she finally did grab a bottle of soda and like splash it all in my face and all over the window, that worked. My lip came off of the window, but and it was all raw and like all swollen up and like it turned a couple colors. Yeah, don't ever do that. Like that sucks. That was bad. It was like that for a good week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. It looked like she had beat me up. It looked like she busted my lip. So, and I never thought I was going to tell that story on here. But, you know, you run into stuff like that. I mean, we got a lot of stories that, like, I don't even know if they're appropriate for this channel. But, yeah, living out here, you see a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff happens. But it's not that bad, you know? A lot of it's funny, somewhat humorous kind of stuff. But how we ended up, like, making it through, like, when we first started, this truck wasn't tagged, it wasn't really running, it wasn't roadworthy. So for, like, the first month and a half, maybe 2 months, we were parked up at the one Pep Boys, and I'd be out there in my jumpsuit, you know, my coveralls, working on my truck, and people would come up to me and ask me if I'd put stuff on their car. So I'd, yeah, make $20 here, make $20 there, you know, make $50 doing this, doing that. That's how we were living, you know. People paying me cash in the parking lot thinking that I was an off-duty Pep Boys employee.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah,
We were
it did.
able to get the
It
money
did.
to be able to get the parts to be able to fix our own truck.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't really get a job that would fit us, so we just kind of created one. Same way we created a house. From time to time, we still do the same thing. Then we were able to get in at one of the Amazons. Her for about 6 months, me for about 9. She had to go out on medical leave. And then, you know, the was that temp service we were going through lost their contract, and Amazon wouldn't take us on as permanent employees, you know, because we're homeless. So then we were back out at it again, you know. And, you know, that's pretty much how the first year went. So, now that you're all caught up and we're about a half hour into this video, I think I'm going to have to make this a part 1 and 2 on this. So, if you want to come back for part 2, it'll be the next video up. And we're going to be jumping on to a few other things. First off, though, before we do that, I need to give a shout out and a thank you to, like, right now we're parked up, and the neighborhood that we're parked up right next to, has some of the nicest people that we have come into contact in the entire 2 years we've been out here. We had a knock at the door earlier tonight, and his family had brought us over this little bag
Put
here.
up a little closer so
Yeah,
you
I'm
can
going
see
to
it.
have to. There we go. From the Tubbs family. We hope you enjoy our challah bread. So yummy with warm cheese. Have a wonderful snowy weekend.
And they made this all homemade. They made like a cheese and a sour cream dip,
Oh,
which is really good.
that
I
is
had to
so
open
good.
it up and sample it. And
A
they also made this homemade
fresh loaf of bread.
I'm not sure where that went.
Yeah, it's in here somewhere. Well, at least half of it's still in here. Because we already tore it up. We've been
And it
tearing
was-
into it.
Thank you guys so much. That was so delicious. You guys were so sweet. You guys are welcome to stop by anytime.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely awesome people. Alright. We love you guys. And we'll see you in the next video. Later.
Later.